Hey racing fans, Chip here with a brand new F1 2019 preview and predictions video. This time we're talking about the brand new re-signed for 5 more years British Grand Prix at Silverstone. I hope you're all doing well wherever you are. Now let's begin the discussion. After the up and down, or I guess it's the other way around, down and up of France and Austria, I sincerely hope we're all looking forward to another great race this Sunday. If the event at Paul Ricard was a little bit more than a snooze fest, the event in Austria was anything but. For every train of cars in France, there was a daring overtake in Austria. For every dirty air affected race pace at Paul Ricard, there was a slipstreaming battle at the Red Bull Ring. And of course, for every overreaction by the stewards in both Canada and France, there was pure, unfiltered racing in Austria. In other words, thank you Red Bull Ring, and can we come back? The difference between the two events was made more apparent by the fact that they were back-to-back. But make no mistake, both the race in France and in Austria, both were Formula One. They represented all of the flaws the sport has, but also the excitement and the passion it can evoke. It's a given that in the future we'll see other races like the one in France. But it is the duty of every single person involved in the running of the sport to now take the good that happened in Austria and do everything in their respective powers to increase the chances of races like this to happen in the near future. Because by doing so, we the fans will be more forgiving when another France will inevitably happen again. So perhaps that's the biggest takeaway for us after the Austrian GP. Be more optimistic about the future of the sport. But please let me know in the comments, are you watching the sport now with renewed passion, renewed hope, or do you think the last GP was just a blip and the problems of the sport run too deep for them to be fixed in the near future? Please, I'd love to hear from you. Now, the British GP. The race will be held around the 5.8 kilometers new Silverstone layout, 18 corners, 52 laps, total racing distance 306 kilometers. Even though held at the same location, this new Silverstone layout is, well, much slower and, yeah, more ungainly than the original Silverstone airfield track. Don't get me wrong, it's still fast. The Maggots-Beckett's Chapel complex is still almost incomprehensible in a Formula One car. But some of the thrills and, well, iconography of the circuit were very much diluted with the introduction of the arena section. Mostly fast in nature, but with a fair amount of heavy braking required, both the tire stress and the lateral forces are in the red zone around Silverstone. The downforce packages on the cars need to be perfectly balanced between their front and the rear ends due to the, well, fast nature of the track, but also because of the first sector, the Mickey Mouse sector. The grip and abrasion of the track surface is medium-high, meaning a quite pronounced tire degradation. To cope with all of this, Pirelli brings in the hardest compounds on their tire range, C1, C2 and C3. And if the temperature is game this weekend, we might just see a two-stop preferred strategy on Sunday. But as things stand now, with the temperature ranging between 22 and 24 degrees with, well, clear skies, I'm afraid a one-stopper will be the norm. With that said, let's take a look at the major talking points ahead of the race. Number 1, back to where it all started. Sort of. If one is to ask what was the first Formula One race ever, most people would respond with the British Grand Prix of 1950 round Silverstone. The first race of the first season, right? Well, actually, no, or sort of no, depending on how you view it. In short, historically speaking, Formula One at that time, 1950, was nothing more than a set of regulations, not a championship. The first few seasons where only a driver was crowned champion rather than a driver and a team, as it is the norm today, were run as the FIA World Championship of Drivers. And yes, the first race of this championship was the British GP of 1950. But the first Formula One race, as in Formula One the sport, for reasons way too complicated for this kind of video, was held in 1981. The United States West Grand Prix at Long Beach. Yes, we live in a world where the Yanks can claim that they held the first Formula One race. But still, as of now, before the 2019 race, there have been 69 British Grand Prix counting towards a Drivers' World Championship. Just don't say the first one was a Formula One race, or the second, or the third, or the 8th, or the 9th. Number 2. The future's bright. The future's McLaren. Don't want to jinx it, so I'll keep this entry short. There are wonderful things happening at McLaren at the moment. The team is on the up and up, with no signs of slowing down. It will take a few more years to get back to the 2010-2012 level of performance, but the signs are more than encouraging. And with both Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris recently confirmed for next year, the stability is very much there to push things even further ahead in the future. Keep it up. Number 3. A difficult race for Ferrari. Now, off the battle up front, who would have guessed after preseason testing that Red Bull will have more victories at this stage of the season than Ferrari? It's only one, but it's way better than a big fat naught. After Mercedes demolished all our hopes and dreams in the first 8 races, it was the Austrian outfit that stopped the Silver Arrows rather than the prancing horse of Maranello, although it was very, very close. Now, due to the layout of Silverstone, the red team of Italy might struggle again against Mercedes. So a battle with the Bulls for Leclerc and Vettel is much more feasible. Number 4, third DRS zone dropped. After its introduction last year in a bid to improve overtaking, the third DRS zone of Silverstone won't make a return. Running from the exit of the final corner all the way to turn 3, this section necessitated so much downforce that drivers in the midfield opted either not to open the DRS flap or crash. For carbon fiber's sake, it is a good decision that this zone was dropped. But for what it's worth, I surely loved the Mercedes, the Ferraris and the Red Bulls going through there last year. And finally, number 5, Hamilton going for the all-time record. With his current 5 Grand Prix victories in Britain, Lewis Hamilton finds himself in a very exclusive club with Jim Clark and Alain Prost. This Sunday, with Silverstone very much a Mercedes track, Lewis Hamilton, the local boy, has the chance to enter a league of 1 in the history books. Here's hoping he'll have some opposition come race day. Speaking of race day, the drinking game goes like this. 1 sip for every mention by the commentary team of British things. Fans, cars, weather, all the things. 2 sips for every overtake, and down your drink if Lewis Hamilton takes the big W. Finally, my predictions for the 2019 British GP. Pole position, Lewis Hamilton. Fastest lap of the race, Pierre Gasly. P10 to P5 at the end of the race. Raikkonen, Perez, Norris, Sainz, Gasly and Leclerc. P4, Max Verstappen. P3, Sebastian Vettel. P2, Lewis Hamilton. And the winner, well, if it's gotta be a Mercedes, then for the championship's sake, then please let it be Valtteri Bottas. And that's it. That was the preview and predictions video for the 2019 British GP. Thanks so much for watching, and well, do you agree, do you disagree with my picks? Please let me know in the comments. Also, if you have any other F1 related question, ask away. I'll be more than happy to try and answer it. Drop a like if you think I've earned it, maybe hit the subscribe button as well, and please share this video with a racing fan. As always, I've been Chip. You can find me on Twitter at chip_DGS and on facebook.com/digitalgrandstand. Let's make it 2 great races out of 2. Cheers. The British GP. Down and up of the race will be run round much very much